Welcome to Excel Magic Trick number 524. Hey, if you want to download this workbook and follow along, click on my YouTube channel, then click on my college website link, and you can download the workbook Excel Magic Trick 524 to 530. Hey, we have an epic video here. We just want to see how to extract records with not criteria. We're going to see 4 different methods. Filter, using does not contain. This is by far the easiest method. Advanced filter with a recorded macro, and then an array formula. Much easier to do in terms of not knowing much about Excel. This is how most people would do it, right? As you go down this list, these become more dynamic and quicker to do if you're going to repeat this type of filter with a not criteria. All right, let's start out with just plain old filter. We have a data set. We have field names at the top and records in rows. I'm going to use the keyboard shortcut Control-Shift-L. Control-Shift-L. When I use it, it's a toggle that turns on and off the filter. If you wanted dynamic ranges, then you would use Control-L or Control-T and convert it to a table. And then it was, as you added records to the bottom, it would the data set would update. I'm just going to use Control-Shift-L. Simple. Our goal is to extract all the records that do not contain repair. So I don't want this one. Fix and repair drive. New filter and replace dash. We want that one. Repair to muffler. So all the ones that say repair, forget it. We don't want to extract those. We want to extract all the records that are not. So we simply go to Filter, Text, Filters, and does not contain. In earlier versions, you can just go to the custom filter and then select from the description right here, does not contain, does not contain. And then we simply type repair. Now, what does filter do? Filter filters it in place. The blue means those rows are hidden. Now we can just copy, and watch this. When you copy, I want to copy the field names too. When you copy, it's great. It's better than subtotals. The dancing ants are marching around just the visible cells. So we're just copying the visible cells, not the hidden rows. Now copy, you do not want to paste it over here because there are some hidden rows. You always want to paste it below or above or on a different sheet. I'm just going to paste it below, Control V. And it pasted just the records that do not contain repair. All right, so that's filter. Filter is the quick and easy way. Now let's look at advanced filter. Advanced filter, for this one, we're going to have to use a formula. And I'm going to show you how you set up a criteria area. For advanced filter, you always have to have a criteria area somewhere in the sheet. Then you have a data set, and you have an extract range. Now in this one, I'm going to show you how to extract to a new sheet. But first, we have to talk about criteria when you're using formulas. Let's just see if we can invent a formula over here that could tell us, does this record not contain somewhere in the text the word repair? We're going to use search. Search is great. Let me click escape. Escape, I don't know this by now, equals S, and in this version tab, because it's right at the top. Search. What is the text we want to find? I want to find repair, so I'm going to click there and hit the F4 key. Text to find, and then within what other text? This one right here. Now what does search do? If we just, and I'm going to keep this relative because I'm going to copy it down. It just tells you the position. So right here it will say it's the first character. Down here it will say something like 9. Search found repair within this text string at the 9th position. So I can copy this down. Now notice what happens to the ones it doesn't find it. It gives us a value error. But those are the ones we want to say true. So in this active cell, I'm going to hit the F2 key to put it in edit mode. I'm going to say, is this an error? This is a true-false function right there. True-false function that says, is this an error? And it spits out true or false, which is exactly what advanced filter needs. It needs a true-false formula. Now I went ahead and Control-Enter, and it populated all the way down, and I added some conditional formatting just so we could see the trues. You probably wouldn't want to do this to your data set. But no problem. We could actually add this column and do a filter, or even do advanced filter. But forget that. Watch this. Here's how you get a formula that would work all the way down. You scoop it out, Control-C. So instead of wasting real estate here, you actually put up in the criteria area the formula. I'm going to Control-V. Notice that that cell reference right there is related to the first record, and it's a relative cell reference. Well, formulas are programmed with advanced filter. It will, in memory, copy this down through all of these records, just like here, but without doing it in the cells. Another thing, very important, when you're doing the formulas, this cell right here must be blank. So blank cell. Usually you have field name when you're doing advanced filter, and then your criteria, but not when you have a formula. Now, let's see how to do this advanced filter data extract to a new sheet. The trick is you got to start on the other sheet. Now, the keyboard shortcuts, filter is there, advanced filter is there. I'm going to use keyboard shortcuts. In older versions, you used to go Alt, Data, Filter, A for advanced. And that's easy to remember. But in this version, that's 2003 and before. In 2007 and 10, the new keyboard shortcut is Alt-A-Q. And it's shorter. So I actually, when the new version came out, I compared all the old alts to the new alts and took the ones that were shorter. But Alt-D-F-A is great because data filter advanced. All right. That's the trick to extracting with advanced filter to a new sheet. You've got to start on this sheet. It doesn't know where it is. Usually it guesses the range. I'm going to say copy to another location. That's going to be my extract area. By the way, when you run advanced filter, hidden names are created for the criteria area and extract range. All right, now I'm going to pick this one. And since it's on a different sheet, I click on that sheet. And I'm going to select the field names and all the way down. Notice I have just a small data set, for examples here so we could see everything. Now, I'm doing this on the other sheet. It's putting in sheet references. If you look here, there's the sheet reference. I'm going to click here and watch. It jumps back because it knows it was starting here. So I have to go back over here and get the criteria. Field name blank, true false formula, and advanced filter will copy it down in memory as if it were in the cells. When I click OK, just like that. Now let's go try something. Let's change, and I'm going to delete all these. Let's change it to oil and see if we can do not oil. Now, the next thing I'm going to show you advanced filter and macro. And one of the things you're going to have to do is, since the extract area is going to be used again and again, if you're doing it manually, you have to get rid of it. And I'm going to use clear all, Alt-E-A-A, clear all. That's on home, clear. It gets formatting and content, right, before you do a new extract. Now I'm going to come over here and type oil. And now the trues change, but let's click over here. And now let's try Alt-A-Q. Alt-A-Q. And I'm going to click copy to another location. It looks like it remembered this from last time, so it has memorized the extract range. Let's go ahead and click right there. Criteria range, list range. Okay, and then click OK. So this time it got everything that does not contain oil. The trick there, if you're going to do it over and over again, then you have to clear the area. Now, let's see how to do the same advanced filter macro, but with advanced filter with not criteria. Let's see how to do it with a macro. Then it's just a flick of a button. Now, in this one, this sheet right here, I'm going to have the criteria area, data set, and the extract area here. And we're going to run a macro. Same formula, right? Does not contain this. Now, when we do a macro, you have to think about relative and absolute cell references. Now, for us, we're going to have the same exact extract area starting here and the same data set. And so we're going to use absolute cell references. So it actually, when we start our macro, it doesn't matter where our cursor is, because we're first going to then click to, as we saw over here, the very first thing we're going to do this macro is clear the content. Whoops, I didn't mean to do that. Clear the content here, even though there's none here next time, because we want that at the beginning of our macro every time when we're running this macro over and over. So we'll clear the area, then run the advanced filter based on that formula. Now, I'm in 2010. 2007 and 2010, you got to turn on this developer ribbon to get a lot of the macro recorded macro stuff and other VBA elements. You got to go to File. I'm just going to do the keyboard shortcut Alt Fi, which is Options. Alt Fi, which is Options. And they're changing this again. In 2007, just when you open up the Excel options, Alt Fi, there's a little ribbon here that says Show Developer Ribbon. Now I don't even know where it is in 2010. Oh, must be under Advanced. I have no idea. Maybe it's down under Customize Ribbon. And there it is. You can, under Customize Ribbon, which is new to 2010, you couldn't customize things before. You can, if I can only scoot this up here. There's the developer. You can just uncheck it or check it, and then it will show it. If I uncheck this right here, oh no, it's gone. Alt Fi. I'm going to go over to Customize Ribbon, and I'm definitely going to check my developer. And then click OK. All right, now you can turn on your macro either right there. I'm sorry, right. That's to show your list of macros right there. Or in 2007 and 10, it has a little button down here. So I'm going to click this one. Now I'm going to call this something. I'm going to call this like extract not criterion. I'm going to assign a keyboard shortcut Control. I'm holding Shift and then R. Let's say I already have another macro in here called extract without, and the keyboard shortcut is Control Shift E. But that's for this other sheet. This one we're doing right here, Control Shift R. Now the recorder is recording. You can see right there. So I'm going to scroll over and I want to delete. I'm actually going to click the whole row, Control Shift down arrow, and do Alt EAA. When we go look at the code, you'll see that we said highlight all of row 35 and then go down to the bottom and clear all. Now I'm going to these are absolute cell references. So when I click there, the recorder said click in A17, not relative cell reference that many up. All right, I'm going to use the same keyboard shortcut, Alt AQ. I'm going to say the list area is fine. The criteria range is right there. Looks like this is remembering it from last time, but yours will start blank because I didn't remove the names. I'll remove the names. And then copy to, you definitely want to copy to. And I'm going to say just one cell. When you don't have the field names down in the extract area, you can just select one cell, and it will plop them there, all the field names also. All right? And then I click OK. Now, I'm going to click in the top cell in the extract range, and then I'm going to use Control down arrow. That'll get me to the bottom of the last record, wherever that is. Now I'm going to stop the macro. Let's go take a look at the macro. Alt F8 shows me my list of macros. There's the one I recorded before and will be on the answer sheet. This one is the one we just recorded and will not be here if you download this workbook. But let's click on this and go look, edit. It'll open up the VBA editor. And here's the one right here, Control Shift R. Active window, I scrolled. But there it is. There's the first action is rows, select, and then range, end down. It goes all the way down to bottom, and selection clear. And then absolute cell reference we selected in A17. Then the macro recorder went ahead and recorded all of our advanced filter items that we selected there. And then range, we clicked in that A35, and then again we just arrowed down so it went to the last bit of data. All right, and you can see there's a module right there. I'm going to close this. And now we got to try this. I'm going to type oil. And what was our keyboard shortcut? Control Shift R. And there it is. Now it shows the repair zones and everything is not oil. Notice it cleared everything. Let's try it again. Let's type tires. So we want to search the database and get all the records that don't contain tires. I didn't even spell it right. This will be good. No, I did spell it right. All the records that do not contain tires. Control-Shift-R. So oil and repair are there, but none of the tires. Now let me misspell something, because this is always a good lesson in TIR. It's probably not going to have that. Oh, no, it'll probably have a TIR right there. How about TE? So it won't have tier anywhere. Now, when we Control-Shift-R, I guess it found everything. Oh, right, because tier is none of them. But that's a mistake. You're like, oh, it didn't work. But no, when you get a complete set of all the data, it means that you typed something wrong. The criteria wasn't correct. Oil one more time. We'll see that case doesn't matter. Control-Shift-R. And there it is. None of the oil is included. Now, that's with advanced filter and macro. Now, one last, I told you this is going to be an epic video, all these topics all in one. Let's do it with a formula. Now, remember, as we're successively getting harder and harder, it gets kind of quicker to do and more dynamic. This one we had to know the keyboard shortcut, whatnot. But this formula one, we're literally just going to type our new, this macro, right, we had to type the criteria and do our keyboard shortcut, Control-Shift-L. Formulas, it'll be just, we'll type something and it will just, the new records will appear. Now, the first trick is we want to count records that don't contain repair or whatever it is. We're going to have our word here. I'm going to show you two different formulas here. Equals COUNTIF. And I'm going to highlight this range right here. And these are just one cell formulas, so you don't need to worry about absolute and relative. Now, what is the criteria? Not. I'm going to, in quotes, go less than, greater than. That's not. And since we're looking for anything, any description that contains repair, we're going to use a wildcard. That's asterisk. That means one or more characters. Now, I'm going to close parentheses and then ampersand to join that starting criteria with that. That way, anytime we change this, the formula will update. Ampersand, and then we need a wildcard on this side, too. Right? OK, so Control-Enter. There should be 7, and there are. Another formula to do, and the elements in this formula we're going to use down in our bigger formula right here. We'll use just the same search thing we did over here, right? We did an advanced filter in our macro, except for the text define is going to be this, comma. And now within text in our advanced filter, we selected just one cell, but we can select all the cells. What does that do? That means search is going to return a bunch of, it's going to return a number or an error for all of these. So if I hit F9, you can see it's got an array. Now the values are the ones we're interested in, just like we did advanced filter. So I'm going to Control-Z and go ISERROR. Now that's still not going to do us any good because it's going to give us an array. So I want to convert. But you can see that the trues will be the elements that don't contain repair, Control-Z. So I'm going to use sum product to count, and then I'm going to put a double negative to convert the trues to ones and the falses to zeros, and then Control-Enter. Now I'm going to copy this right here because we're going to use this same little construction. In fact, I'm going to lock this because when we use it in our formula, the formula is going to copy over and down. So I'm going to lock this, F4, and I'm going to lock this one too. Now I'm going to copy just the ISERROR and search part. That's the array. If I hit it here, F9, that's just the array of trues and falses for which records we're interested in. Control, whoops, escape. Now notice I did something there. I did F9, and then I deleted. Undo only works one back and when you're in a formula. So I just wrecked my formula. So the emergency is to hit escape. Now, of course, it didn't remember any of my little things here. So let's highlight this. Again, that's the trigger for which records to extract. Now, our formula is going to be a typical data extract formula that I've done many times here. Let's make this a little bit bigger. Okay, we're going to say if. And we need a number incrementer, so we're going to use rows, because when we get past 7, we want our formula to turn off. And I'm sitting in the cell E7, so $7 colon E7. When that incrementer is greater than this, and I'm going to hit F4 because it needs to be locked everywhere. When that's greater than 7, then we want to show a blank, meaning this formula is down past the row, so blank. Otherwise, we want to do a lookup function, and we'll do index. Index is great. It'll look up stuff given a row number. Now watch this. This array, date, amount, description. 3 different columns. So I'm just going to highlight the first column. That's just formatting there, by the way. Or column isn't wide enough. And I'm going to hit the F4 key twice, because guess what? When it copies down, everything in this column needs to look at the range for date. But when we move over here, there's no $ in front of the column reference, so it moves to amount. That is the array to look up. Now, comma, and the row number. Now we have 7 matching records, so we're going to need 7 row numbers, and we need one of the 7 row numbers, which means the first one in this row. But when we get down to the next row, we need the second, and then the third, and then the fourth. That's where the small comes in, because we have multiple records we're returning. We have multiple row numbers that need to go into the index function. We're going to use the small. Now, the small, we're going to say the small is going to help us deliver the row numbers, but we need that string of trues and falses for which row numbers to deliver to the index. So I'm going to say if, and I'm going to paste, Control V. Now, right here, OK, so I didn't get the end here, so I need to close parentheses and close parentheses. Again, this is the series of trues and falses, F9. The series of trues and falses, F9. Oh, so I didn't copy everything from up here. Well, no problem. I'm going to get all the way to the end. I'm going to say is error search. I'm going to say search for what? For this right here. Find the text. F4, lock it all the way down. Comma. Oh, I see. I did have. What happened here? I just couldn't see that. Anyway, within what? This whole range right here. Control Shift down, arrow F4. Close parentheses on the search, close parentheses on the ISERROR. And now I think if I go like this, you can see F9's got. Oh yeah, there's the string of trues and falses for which records are correct. Control Z. From this, that if, we'll say, and we need row numbers, so we'll say row. And I'm going to get whichever one of these, right, because we're going to lock it the whole way. Sorry about that. F4. The row of that, but that's not going to work because it'll give us 2, 3, 4, 5 all the way down to 16. So we have to say minus row. And of this little, the first cell in this range, F4. Close parentheses. Now, that'll give us 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 all the way to 15, so we have to add 1. All right, so that was the small. That's the if. This whole if, if I highlight this here and hit F9, what does it do? It gives us a bunch of falses and the row numbers we need. Now, small has the array of row numbers it needs. It'll ignore the falses, Control Z. And which ones do we want as we go down? This rows. This is the formula incrementer. The rows will say 1 in this row, 2, 3, etc. So that's our K. The for extracting as we go down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 of these numbers from this array right here for the small. Close parentheses on the small. Now we have our row numbers for index. You can see that right there. So I'm going to close parentheses. We have our false for the if. So we close parentheses. This is an array formula. So you Control Shift Enter. I'm going to drag this over, and I'm going to immediately notice that right there, point to fill without formatting. And now I'm going to drag it down. OK, so now it's pretty simple. Watch this. We just change this to oil. And there it is. It shows me the records that don't contain it. If I change it to tire, right? It shows me all the records that do not contain tire. How about muffler? It shows me ones that are not containing muffler. All right, so that's a lot about extracting records with not criteria. We did it with a formula. We did it with a macro. We did it with plain old advanced filter. And then the easiest way, I hope most of you turned off this because you went, the filter, that's what I'm going to use from now on when you saw this. All right, we'll see you next trick.